Hello, I'm Sarah Duncan, and on today's EdTPA Close-Up series, we're going to be looking at using knowledge of students to inform instruction. As you're planning, ask yourself, what about my plans makes them just right for this group of students? There are two main areas of knowledge that EdTPA is asking you to consider as you plan: prior learning and assets. Prior academic learning is recent learning that directly connects to your central focus. Keep in mind that the last thing students learned may or may not be directly tied to the central focus. Don't make assumptions about students' prior learning. You should be able to back up any conclusions you make with data that you can cite. The second area is assets. Assets include students' cultural and linguistic backgrounds, interests, community or family resources, and lived experiences. Prompt 2 will ask you to share information about students' prior learning and assets as it relates to your central focus. Oftentimes, candidates struggle completing this section because they don't really know their students. Be sure that you put in the time and effort to know your students and learn all about them. Let's look at an example. I'm going to be teaching a class of mermaids from Under the Sea. My central focus is solving simple equations. I've identified some assets. There is a strong fascination with human objects among my mermaid students. A unique community asset is their love of music. There are many mermaids involved in singing performances that are attended by the entire community. Culturally, there is a very laid-back and carefree attitude among mermaids as well as my students. They aren't used to doing a lot of work. Let's look at some ideas I have on how I can tailor instruction based on their assets. When introducing my central focus, I can use various objects from the human world as manipulatives. This will connect their interest in human objects to my central focus. Since they love music, I could play music softly as they work on practice equations. And because I know they don't like to do work, I will use candy as an incentive to get them to actually complete their assignments. Now let's review these to see how I did. The use of human objects is a great way to tie their passion to my central focus. The use of music does relate to an asset, but it's not directly tied to my focus of equations, so it's missing the mark. The final strategy of using incentives with my mermaids because they dislike work is problematic because it represents deficit thinking. I shouldn't be lowering my expectations of my students because of their culture or background. As you get to know your students, you'll find they bring a wide range of talents and experiences to your classroom. It's your job as the teacher to do the exciting work of helping build on those experiences to help them find success.